Hello and welcome to our podcast. My name is Natasha.
And my name's Lauren.
Join us as we discuss all things Neighbours.
And it's unfinished business.
Hello and welcome to episode 12.
Yes, welcome and thanks so much for joining us. It really does mean a lot that you guys are here.
Definitely does. Right, so on today's episode, guys, as usual, obviously we're going to be discussing the last 2 weeks, but we also do have another guest for you today.
Yeah, so on today's episode, we are also interviewing another Neighbours fan. His name's Steve. But before we get into that, shall we discuss the last 2 weeks of episodes?
Yeah, so obviously, as always, I will start because I have my little note.
Yeah, I just follow you.
I know you do. You're
The
like
agenda.
reeling off what I say. So obviously going back like 2 weeks, I think the first episode we've seen is obviously David's funeral. So Lucy's back. It's always great to see Lucy. I think Lucy brings a lot to the show when she comes back, especially like her dynamic with Paul. Like I really love their relationship. Conveniently, Chloe's flight is cancelled, so she can't be there. But we said that last week. We were like, who's going to be there? I was like, but there wasn't any mention of any other members of the Brennan family.
Really
Like,
yeah, but also his mother.
yeah, I know. That's so bizarre. Really bizarre. No, didn't Leo say something about her?
But regardless, the mother would be there. Like, your son has died, your mother would be there.
A bit odd. Anyway, so obviously, the funeral starts and Aaron is basically struggling to be there for Isla. He's like, I can't do it. And we see a really sweet moment in the funeral where Paul obviously has that word with him and says, look, I've lost one son already. Don't be the reason that, Isla doesn't have a dad anymore. She's already lost one. She doesn't want to lose you, kind of thing, which was a really sweet moment. Obviously, as we know, that goes tits up later down the line. Yeah, like what did you think about the funeral? Because I was really, again, like Paul not being able to say his little speech or whatever, and welling up and seeing Carl sad. I don't know, just the old people, the oldies, it gets me really, really emotional. And obviously Aaron's speech as well. But yeah, what did you think of the funeral?
Yeah, I mean, I wasn't. It sounds bad, but I don't know why I wasn't that sad. I don't know. Because I've always been quite fond of David.
Yeah.
But maybe when they returned and the way that they kind of portrayed David to be quite the moaner, and like we said last time, I think that he was quite unhappy, seemed quite unhappy with his life.
Yeah.
So yeah, I found it difficult to really be that sad about the funeral itself. But like you said, like Paul, that kind of tugged at the heartstrings. I never like seeing Paul upset. It's almost like it's unnatural, right? And they're veterans at what they do. Like Stefan's amazing. So, turning on the waterworks does actually
Like just set you off.
Yeah.
Yeah. But obviously then they all go to the waterhole and they have the wake, and
Oh yeah.
obviously, well, Krista's not been allowed to come to the funeral, but obviously she gets the go ahead from Leo that she can come to the wake, etc., because she thinks actually Paul seems in a pretty good mood, like I think it'll be fine, kind of thing. And obviously she turns up and Paul absolutely flips out, and you can just see Sadie in the background being like, because prior to the funeral, she's obviously remembered that she's seen Eden the day before the holiday with Paul. Conveniently, there now seems to be CCTV in the lift. Before, like, was there not that, like, when Byron and Reese had their little smoochy session in there wasn't a fucking CCTV camera in there. So conveniently there's now CCTV in the lift. So Sadie's obviously got hold of the footage from that, and she knows that Eden was actually with Paul the night before it all happened. And obviously she cannot hold back, and she obviously screams and says, like, leave her alone. Actually, no, Paul, you were the last person that was seen with Eden, this is all your kind of fault. I'd really liked that moment with Sadie. I was like, oh, Sadie's got a bit of like,
Mhm,
oomph
mhm,
behind her.
mhm.
She's getting a bit of, yeah. So obviously the truth all comes out, and obviously Paul has to actually admit that yes, he was with Eden. Um, yeah, and then you start going, oh no, like you just know what's gonna happen. Like Paul's inevitably now
But
gonna like,
it's the history of Paul. This is what he
yeah,
does, you
yeah,
know? He makes up with his family, then he does something a bit underhand. He's trying to do it to protect his family, but it all goes wrong. It's not usually above board.
yeah,
And then his family, like how many times has Leo fallen out with Paul? You know, Aaron's been pissed off at Paul before. David, when he was alive, was pissed off with
yeah.
Paul. Like he's pissed off everyone in his family.
Mm,
Obviously, we know that at some point, well, we're hoping, because even
yeah,
with David, it was like very frayed, the
yeah.
relationship. But you hope that, because I'm really sad for like Paul now with Leo. Leo doesn't want anything to do with him.
Mm,
Um, and I'm a bit surprised because Leo isn't exactly above board himself.
mm,
As we've said before in the past,
yeah.
I feel like he should know where that motivation came from. But again, it's like, if that was your own dad, you would be pissed off at your dad for doing that.
But I also think
That
that
is Paul.
yeah, that, but also it's different in the sense that David was his twin. Now, like, imagine
Yeah,
how you would feel if you like basically lost
yeah,
another part of you, wouldn't you? Because
yeah.
they were born with them, you've been with them your whole entire life, you don't haven't known any different. So even if it is your dad or not, you're still, and you find that information out, I think you're just gonna completely,
Well, I don't know. You're being pissed off with Paul, but your mum hasn't even turned up to the funeral, so
yeah. I mean, yeah. Um, yeah, so obviously this then leads on to, you could see it a little bit in the funeral when Paul was getting upset. Therese wanted to get up.
mhm,
See, she was
I
like,
loved it. Yeah.
I need to get up and I need to go and be with
I
him. And
think this is why I wasn't sad because I knew that good
yeah,
things would come from this.
yeah. So obviously Lucy ends up getting in the end to help him with his speech, but obviously Therese then is obviously trying to defend Paul's
Mhm,
actions,
mhm.
and obviously Toady,
Yeah,
of course, has the right to
yeah.
question it and be like, why the hell are you defending him? And obviously they have a massive fight, and she says she knows how he feels because he's lost, because she's also lost a child, and you should never, bury a child before yourself, etc. Um, but obviously Paul then texts her and says, I need to see you. And you see that moment where she goes to the complex and you're like, right, who's she going to choose? She sees Toady in his office and she sees this hotel. And you just know that she's just going to go to Paul.
Mhm, mhm.
And obviously then they end up spending the evening chatting and whatever. Um, yeah, which inevitably has obviously led to this situation with Toady and Therese. They're just dancing around each other all the time, aren't they? Like, uh she obviously comes clean and stuff, but Toady then sits there and goes, "It's okay, don't worry, I knew that you were going to tell me." But he's clearly not okay about the
Mhm,
situation.
mhm.
Um,
Mm.
yeah,
But
I don't know.
then that also leads to, because at least she did say something and was upfront about it,
Yeah,
because then what he ends up doing, which is spending time with Mel,
yeah. So yeah,
she was
going on to
literally like,
that,
"When are you gonna tell me?"
yes, because obviously, so Mel is obviously, I think they end up in Toadie's and Harold's, and Mel comes in, and I think Mel actually asks after Therese because she says, she's obviously feels
Mhm.
like kind of lost a stepson or whatever too. But obviously Toady doesn't hold back, and he obviously
Yeah.
tells Mel and's like, actually no, she spent time with Paul on that evening, etc. Um, at the time, I think Mel tries to convince Toady that it's just empathy that she's feeling, but obviously we know it's not. We know there's still
Mhm.
that connection
Mhm.
there
Mhm.
between Paul and Therese. Um, yeah, and then obviously it goes on, progresses this week, doesn't it? That Mel finds her wedding ring and she tries it on. And again, when Toadie's trying, Cole's like trying really hard. He's like, no, you need to stop confiding in her. But then when he's not there, Toadie's like, well, who else am I going to confide in? Mel's the one that's there. I need to. And
Yeah.
obviously sees her wearing the wedding ring. She confesses that she still loves him and wants him back. And again, it goes back to this dancing around each other and stuff. But I love it that Mel was like, oh, okay. he's still got feelings for me. Right. Plan of action. Like, let's go. And she's
So
getting
good.
the dress out and she's like, I just like, but it's the fact that Holly's like, that is a thirst trap dress. Like,
Yeah, yeah. I love it.
that scene where she just crawls across the complex in this dress and Tony's like, and you just know he's like trying to ignore her, but he's like, oh, I can't, like, oh my God. And then obviously he admits that
It's the perfect gameplay. It's just, the memories of how they got together. Like he couldn't, because there is an age gap. Toadie is younger.
yeah,
And in his head it was a bit, oh, this is a little bit wrong. Like, and also she works for me, so we shouldn't really be doing this.
yeah,
And he just couldn't resist that dress. So well done to Mel for
I know,
actually being the only one out of all of this situation for doing something.
yeah.
We can tell that Therese and Toadie are just not on the same page about
They're
so
just both as bad
much.
as each other.
Really
Like they're
bad.
going
Like,
behind each other's backs
yeah,
just constantly.
yeah,
Um, like the fact that in this last episode, Toadie's telling Mel, like, you need to stay away from him, but he is clearly cracking.
yeah,
He is clearly going.
yeah,
He's lying to himself.
yeah,
Like what you can see when he's saying, Mel, you need to stop. You
yeah,
can see in his face, he's just like he just doesn't know what to do. And I'm
yeah.
just like Therese has every right to
Mhm.
obviously have now got in the car and drove off or whatever. But she is as bad as him because she's seeing Paul.
I
But
don't
actually,
know though, because I feel like with Therese, as much as even if she still does have feelings for Paul, you can see it's out of I want to help you grieve for
mm,
David. You can tell that she just wants to be there for him. There's no funny business. Maybe it could have transpired if that did happen, if Chelsea wasn't. Gosh, I'm sure we're going to mention Chelsea.
she's
Um,
next on the agenda.
like if she wasn't in the way,
Mm,
then potentially something could develop as they grow closer from, her supporting him. Because she's also grieving too. But I feel like it's purely sexually charged between Mel and Toadie. Like
100%.
it's undeniable.
Yeah,
And whether you think that Toadie was right for Sonia, and that's the love of his life, the end of the day, Sonia's not around anymore. So the next person, it's definitely not Therese, it's Mel.
yeah,
And, I feel like you can just tell that he is really struggling with this.
mhm,
And that's because he does still have feelings for her. And it's
yeah,
not, oh, I want to support her through this because there's no issues with her anymore. Like she's pretty together, really. Like, yes,
yeah.
she's doing community service, but she's cool. She doesn't need support. But yet they keep being
I
drawn
think
towards each other.
I think though, like in the situation of the separation between the two marriages, so when Paul left to raise at the altar, I think with him, because he's Paul, it's almost expected that he was probably going to do something like that. But for Toadie and Mel, I think because it was so unexpected for her to
Mm.
disappear, it's a little bit more like hard for him to get over that and
Well, yeah,
him,
because Therese knows Paul. Paul
yeah,
isn't perfect at all. He's so flawed.
yeah,
So deep down, she probably thought, well, he was going to let me down. He was going to disappoint me.
yeah,
So that's why I feel that there's not too much. Like has always accepted Paul for who he is,
yeah,
right? Which is why she's probably has forgiven him and kind of gotten over the whole thing that happened between
mm,
them. But with Mel, it's just completely unresolved. This
yeah.
that's what it is, completely unresolved. At least with Paul and Trey's, I feel like something's been resolved there. And they can be, if they wanted to, they could go into a place of friendship.
Mm.
But Mel and Toadie can never
Because
be friends.
it's not like Mel had moved on.
Mm,
Like the whole time she was away, she'd only moved away to protect Toadie and the kids. So the
hmm.
whole time she's away, she's still in love with him.
Yeah,
It's not, whereas
yeah,
like Therese has now moved on with Toadie,
yeah,
so she doesn't obviously have she may still have feelings for Paul,
yeah,
but she's moved on, whereas
yeah,
Mel hadn't. So
yeah.
no, it's interesting. I'm excited to see what's happening because you can see Carlos trying so hard, and he's like, for God's
But
sake,
it's
Toadie.
so funny because it's like, Carl, you cannot even fucking
I
talk.
know, but he even says that himself. He says, "Look, I don't want you to make the same mistakes that I made." Like, you know. So you've mentioned her now just now, Chelsea, like
Yes.
full on taking advantage of Paul, and it's really pissing me off.
Yeah.
Obviously, she gets Lucy drunk to kind of like try and get some
Yeah.
info out of her and get on her good side kind of thing. But like manipulating him, deleting messages from Therese, you know, taking it upon herself to get involved in like the business, you know, convincing him that she needs to move in, manipulating him to be like acting manager. It's just like,
Yeah.
oh, I don't
I
know.
mean, up until this last episode, I have seen all of like the comments on Facebook and Twitter about her.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, the writers are doing a good job, you know, because I think we all dislike her. But I was
Yeah,
kind of like,
that's what it's written for. It's written for
yeah,
that
like
later.
she's
Yeah.
doing a really good job.
Yeah.
Um, but up until this point, I personally was kind of like, I mean, is it so bad? Like at the end of the day, like he's not innocent, you know. And at the end of the day,
No.
maybe it's two people that are very like each other. Just a bit of fun. It keeps him happy. He is grieving, but if it's gonna take his mind off it, then maybe that's a good thing. Like maybe it's not all so bad. But as soon as I saw the way she was treating Krista,
Mm.
as soon as she basically asked him, "Well, can I get a title of acting manager?" No,
I think
you're
the issue
this.
is because he's such a love to hate character, like when you see someone start to treat him that way,
Mhm.
you kind of go, "Oh, but I don't want anyone to do." I don't know.
Yeah,
It's really
I
hard.
know, yeah,
The love to hate character.
because
You
he
know,
deserves
you're
everything
not,
that's coming to
yeah,
him.
you know that what he's done is wrong,
Yeah,
but you also don't want to see him being hurt. It's
no,
like it's a
yeah,
really
no,
odd like play on things. Yeah, and yeah, obviously she's yeah, the way she was being with Krista, like just like not on at all. But I do love the fact that Krista was like, no, I'm gonna go and find out for
yeah, yeah,
myself.
yeah, yeah,
But obviously now Chelsea's manipulated that and she's like wants
yeah,
to be acting manager so she can get the last say on it, I
yeah,
suppose.
yeah,
But that's like obviously Krista's coming from a place, a good place, and being
mhm,
like, I want to do this for David. I've got the permission of Leah, I've got permission of Aaron, like I think, because obviously he's
yeah,
disappeared
yeah,
or whatever.
yeah,
He's got the permission of Paul now, and Chelsea's just going to come along and just, ruin it for her. But I think Krista could probably do a lot of damage actually with her title of being a, Sir Claire. I think, she's got a whole family that's a powerhouse. She could call in on them and be like,
yeah,
get rid of this woman or whatever.
yeah.
She's starting to show a little baby bump as well, I noticed this
Oh,
week
okay.
in the little dress that she was wearing. Um, so I don't know where to go next. The gang or Aaron?
I mean, the gang,
I
I'm
think
just a bit like,
well, we'll go Aaron first because the gang links into Andrew. Right, Aaron, obviously, very very angry at the world right now, which he would be. Like, and obviously he confronts said gang member, screws up that picture that Ida's drawn, and obviously Nicolette is getting very very sort of frustrated with him. Um, Obviously you think that they've worked things out, they've kind of patched up, and then you see him go on that run, and he obviously sees the spot where they had the funeral and just completely like breaks down. And I was just like, this is like the acting that we said that we would see from Matty.
mhm.
You
We
can't
said
hear
we would see angry.
you
Yeah,
can't hear him crying or screaming, but even in the with that music and the silent crying or whatever, like you can just he would have to have fully have like dug deep to
mhm,
like do those like scenes, and it's just like yeah, he's doing really well, really well, Matty, with the acting that he's showing. But
mhm,
he's obviously now not he's gone and they don't know where he is, and
mhm.
Isla being like sad like about everyone leaving her, like I don't want Dada to go too, and I'm
Yeah.
just like,
She's
"Mm."
it's just so cute that they're giving her some lines.
No.
I do like kind of kiddies acting.
I was
Um,
thinking this because I was like, how did like the you know, Nell and Hugo used to like, how old were they when they started getting their first lines? Because she was saying little bits, but then you can
Yeah,
tell
yeah,
when Jane was like, "Come on, let's go and get a bedtime story," she was like, "Blah blah 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 blah." She was
yeah.
chatting away, which obviously isn't scripted. She's like, "Come on, let's go and get story. Like, quick, get out of the way. You're ruining the."
It's so cute. I
So
just love it.
yeah,
It just makes it real, doesn't it?
yeah,
Like seeing them do their own thing, and
yeah.
we've seen Nell before, like doing things like, I don't know, it might have been like painting, like finger painting or whatever, and it's like there's certain things that was going on, and Sonia is actually like going, "Ah," and it's just
She's like, stop doing that. Like, stop.
yeah, like oh, it's just so funny.
Yes, obviously Andrew is very Andrew, not Andrew. Aaron is very angry at the world right now, which is like, you know, to your right.
Mm,
Uh, yeah, so don't know where that's obviously gonna go now for him and his character. I do feel sorry for Nicolette though, because she's having
yeah,
to like deal with all of
hold it
like
together, yeah.
questions that Isla's,
Well,
you know,
because what she said was like he's being selfish in a sense that I'm like other people are grieving too.
she's
It's
just-
yes, it's your husband, but like
yeah, but like your child has
yeah,
lost her dad.
and
Like
you've left me with the awkward questions. What we haven't actually agreed what we're actually going to say when she asks certain things. Like
yeah, yeah, I know it's awful. So obviously talking of the gang, obviously this new gang has suddenly appeared, and um, there turns out they're the ones that targeted Mel the other week. But obviously JJ tries to stand up to them, which I think is now going to backfire on him. So that's going to be interesting to see where that goes and if he gets himself involved in a big sort of storyline. But my thinking on this is Andrew's brother has something to do with them. I don't know why.
it's something, yeah.
It's obviously so in the last episode we've seen Andrew's getting really jumpy with Wendy, and Wendy realizes that he's been looking at these photos, which I think turns out to be his brother from what we've seen on social
Hmm.
media.
Hmm.
I mean it's great. We've been willing for a story to come up
Yeah,
for
for him,
Andrew. I
yeah.
think this will be really good. Um, but yeah, I don't know. I think it might not be connected to the gang. It was weird that
But
they were talking.
it might just remind him of
Yeah,
maybe
make
his brother was mixed up
they
with the wrong crowd.
yeah, because they said that obviously his brother is nothing like him. And then we've seen in the next on Neighbours that or
I mean,
he
it's the whole Mark Brennan Tyler situation, isn't it? Really, that kind
yeah,
of because Tyler was a bit of a rough one,
mm,
mixed up with the wrong people.
yeah.
I mean, D'Amato, we know he's come back on the actor, but yeah,
Yeah,
all of
no,
that.
so I'm excited, I think. And there was a little snippet of Holly and Max saying to Sadie, "You were always sorting our love lives out. Let's now sort yours out, or whatever." So that'll be good for Sadie to get a
Yeah,
like,
but wasn't there that lovely moment between Sadie and Byron?
yeah.
That
And
was literally so cute.
yeah, and I like as much as you know we've been Byron and Holly, Team Byron and Holly. I actually think maybe Byron and Sadie should be together. It would be proper cute.
To be honest, Sadie's always thinking about other people's love life, so yeah. But
Yeah, set them up. But yeah.
so now we are joined by our guest, Steve.
Hello.
Hello.
Hi. So, Steve. So, first of all, please tell us a little bit about your like background in regards to like Neighbours. You know, where did it kind of like all begin for you?
Oh God. It began when I was 5 years old. My mother, funny woman, she used to have all the soaps on the TV in the background, and I just started watching it and didn't stop.
Hmm. Yeah.
Um, yeah, I just none of the other soaps interested me, but that one did, and it's just stuck with me.
What about it? It
Mm.
like did you love like what was it about Neighbours that like really like drew you in kind of thing?
I've been thinking about this the last couple of days. I don't honestly know. It just drew me in.
Mm,
And I think as I've got older and grown up with it,
yeah.
it's become more of a comfort thing for me. I mean, when it was off TV, when it got cancelled, I was lost,
Mm,
hated it. but it's just full of drama. It can be light, it can be serious. It's just wonderful.
Yeah. We feel the same.
So how do you feel about the relaunch? I mean, has it
Oh, I'm
lived
loving
up
it.
to your expectations?
Oh yeah, and more. I mean, the last couple of weeks especially, it's been fantastic.
Mm.
I mean, when David was in hospital, I mean, we got to see Carl back in the hospital doing some work, and he hasn't done so for nearly 100 episodes.
We keep ribbing him here on
Yeah.
We literally said the same thing. We were like, when is Carl going to get back in the hospital? And then we're like, there he is. There he is in the hospital.
Well, yesterday we saw Mel doing her community service and she got done.
Mhm.
You know, they're lacking in work. They need to go out and do something.
Like, these people don't work in Soapland anymore, do they?
No, but the hotel staff are busy.
I know.
Yeah.
That's what they seem to focus on, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, like, I suppose I was going to ask you what your favorite storyline is, like, so far with the relaunch and stuff. Obviously, you mentioned David. Would you say that one, or would you say like another one?
I think the stuff with the Sinclairs, because where it's a new character, I think they've really done well with that.
Mm.
Which does lead into David dying with Eden and all that stuff. So
Yeah.
no, they've done it very well.
Did you
Very,
prefer
very well.
do you prefer Krista or like Reese? Like, did you like Reese when she first appeared?
I thought Reese was okay. They could have written her a bit better. But I think Krista, she's a breath of fresh air for the show, I must admit.
Yeah. No, definitely. I think both Tash and I we weren't sure to begin with, were we, about Krista, but I think she's definitely grown on us the last kind of couple of weeks and stuff, especially regards with the obviously pregnancy and stuff and the way that she's being sort of treated. Yeah.
And the way she spoke to Chelsea last night, we were like, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, we just said the same. We recorded a segment just before this, and we were saying about that. Because obviously saying about questions and stuff that we might sort of interlude them. What's your thoughts on Chelsea then?
I think the actress that is playing her is doing a fabulous job. But the character needs to go now. She's annoying me.
I don't think she's going to be going that soon.
No.
No, but Tash, you said the same, didn't you? You said the same thing about her. Like, the actress is playing such a good role.
Yeah.
Because you hate her.
Hate her.
Yeah. Every time she appears on screen, you're just like, oh, fuck off.
There's the first swear word.
You're allowed to swear here. It's fine. You're allowed to swear. It's fine. Don't worry.
So which family from the past would you bring back and why?
I think the Martins. So Philip Martin, Hannah Martin. Because when I started watching them, it was just before the Kennedys had joined.
Yep.
So they were the first family I connected with. And I think it'd be good to bring them back.
Okay.
So I didn't really know the Martins very well. I think that was kind of a little bit more that was way back, wasn't it?
Yeah, early 90s.
So
I mean, would that also be bringing people back from the dead?
I honestly can't remember. I mean, they did bring Philip back briefly for the finale and again a few episodes back, but
yeah, I definitely remember him, but I'm trying to envision and try to remember
I think his wife died.
Yeah, didn't
he?
Yeah, and so he had his daughter Hannah, is that right?
Yeah.
Because I kind of remember it, but I kind of don't. Me and Tash, our journey with it was kind of
it was kind of when Lance came in. So obviously Lance's mum and
we kind of dipped out a little bit, didn't we? And I think then we came back later on, sort of in the early 2000s. So I'm trying to remember the Martin.
I mean, Lance was great. He was so good at.
Yeah.
Yeah, who's now with Amy.
That's interesting.
Very weird. Very weird.
So, talking of characters, so you said about obviously the Martin family. Who is your favorite character, past and present?
Past, it's always Summer Hoyland, Geordie Lucas, and present. Oh God, it's a toss-up between Toadie and Mel.
Okay.
I mean, you could class Toadie as a past character because he's been in there from the beginning, so he's past and present.
Well, yeah, back when he had the mullet.
Same with Mel, I suppose. Why Geordie then? Like, what did you love about her so much?
I pretty much fancied her, to be honest.
I take it you enjoyed our interview with her then?
Yeah, it was good. It was good.
Yeah. I also don't know if I was very keen of her character, Summer, really. I found her
I
quite
was keen on her towards the end. I think when she
yeah.
was with Andrew,
Mm.
that wasn't her strongest point. But then when she was single, I was like, yeah, you know, she was at the paper. Yeah, being an independent woman.
Yeah, they did some good character development with her.
Yeah,
Yeah.
And when they brought her back and she was this podcast presenter, I thought, no,
yeah,
that was the right route to go down.
Yeah, because
definitely.
that was the question we asked her. We said, you know, do you think that had your character not left, you would be doing, you know, what you are now? And she was like, yeah, 100%. She's like,
Mm.
my character was destined to be a podcaster or like journalist of some sort. So yeah, no, definitely. Yeah, sorry, you were saying Mel and Toadie, like, so what do you love so much about like Mel and Toadie?
I think it's the dynamics of their characters. They're always, for the most part, joyful.
Mm.
You know, I think they bring a lot of happiness to a lot of people. And I will say this now, they should be together.
So we were just literally just talking
Yeah.
about this. We've obviously been talking about this tension and stuff that's happening sort of this last week or so. Like, yeah, what do you feel about that whole situation with Mel and Toadie at the moment and like where it's going?
I mean, I can understand why they put Toadie and Therese together. They had to bring it back with a bang, but they are just not suited. He's this big character, and Therese is very serious, very corporate, and
Yeah.
the cracks are showing. And
Mhm.
you know, when they did pair Toadie and Mel together a few years ago, I thought, no, that's the right thing to do after sort of Sonia and things like
Mm.
that. So I think they need to reverse it all back, to be honest.
So funny,
Yeah.
it's interesting hearing you say that because you're saying very similar things to what
Mm.
like we say. You're basically just like repeating literally what we've just been talking about.
But
Um,
it means that if we're thinking that, if you're thinking that, then all of the fans are thinking that.
do
You
you
know,
think that
Toadie
though?
is. Yeah, but Toadie's not himself. We haven't
No.
seen him once really crack a smile, crack a
No.
joke. And he's so good at his comedy.
Yeah.
No wonder Ryan's actually going to be taking a break coming over here in September because he's probably like, you sort out the storylines, mate. Right, the storylines. Yeah, we need comedy from him.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I must admit, I'm looking forward to Toad on the road. I must book my tickets for that soon.
Yes.
Do
Which
it.
one are you going to go to?
Worthing.
Worthing. Okay.
Nice.
Yeah, it's not too far from where I live, so I'll do that one.
Yeah, cool.
Cool. So next question, if you could write a storyline, who would be in it and what would it be about? Not
Oh,
Toadie Mel.
that's a good one. I think it would have to involve Paul.
Mm-hmm.
And Carl.
Okay.
OGs.
Yeah, they've always had a bit of a love-hate relationship, and I think the storyline would be something would happen, and they would have to go on a night out and socialize together. It
Or
could be
kind
good,
of
or it
like
could be
a
disastrous.
a location kind of off set.
Yeah, like a stag do or something.
I was about to say I'm interested. I want to know what's going to bring Carl and Paul on a night out together. Like, what is that
Yeah.
thing that's going to bring them together? Like, how does that dynamic work?
Like if Leo got married, potentially.
That would like what is Leo doing though? Like, who is he gonna like marry? He seems to like the first few weeks just not actually like doing anything with his life.
I mean, to be honest with you, the Leo character has always been a bit lackluster, to be honest.
I'm so glad that people think this because we're just literally just like
I mean,
for ages on our episodes, like, what is Leo doing? Why is
when they
he
announced he
looking
was
after his
coming back, I
child?
was like, why?
Yeah. And then they've got rid of David. Like,
Maybe that's why. Maybe they want to shine a little bit more light on Leo.
I don't know. He just seems to be sleeping with women all the time. That's kind of his thing. No?
That's what he nearly slept with his sister, didn't he?
Mm.
Amy.
We were kind of talking about a bit of that earlier.
I
The
know, we were talking about
incestuousness.
that. Incest. Oh.
But I
Um,
think the a positive spin on it is, he's got Abigail.
yeah.
So they're
Mm.
showing some different colour to the character now. So
Mm.
Yeah.
hopefully they can build on that.
Yeah.
No, definitely.
Yeah.
So we were just talking about our top like
I was
5.
going to ask this.
Were you?
Yeah.
Go on, you do it then. You ask it. You ask.
No, we were just talking about this. Well, we were talking about our top 5 men earlier.
Oh yeah.
So we were just wondering what your top 5 women from Neighbours would be.
Obviously, I think we know what number 1's going to be.
Yeah. Summer, Mel, Hannah, Flick, Roxy.
Nice.
Two of
Okay.
my girl crushes are on that. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, definitely. Flick and Roxy.
mhm.
There's one on there that there's a couple on there that you've not said that I would pick. I don't think we're going to go into it though, because I think we're going to save it for another day for us.
So
What were your choices, fellow-wise, then?
oh,
We're
we
gonna
can't
go-
give that away either.
No, we've got an
Ah.
I mean, obviously you
episode
know what our
based.
number 1 would be.
What, that dodgy cop?
Sexy
Yeah,
cop,
we
more
we
like.
can't talk about him, or because we just would go really stupid. But anyway, yeah, we're not going to talk about it because we've got an episode coming up that's focused on that, so we won't talk about it.
Mhm.
I know one thing I will say about him. For years they called him Brennan, and all of a sudden they were calling him Mark. It was like, what the hell?
Well, this is why I'm always calling him Mark Brennan.
Yeah,
Like, he's Mark Brennan. You can't call him Mark. Who's Mark? I don't know who Mark is. It's Mark
exactly.
Brennan.
That was odd though that they were calling him Brennan though.
Brennan. But
So
then
when
it didn't make sense because then Aaron arrived and
Yeah.
Tyler arrived. It didn't
Tyler
make
was
any
like,
sense.
"Why is everyone calling him Brennan for? Like, what the hell is going on?"
Well, because the thing is, when we rewatched it, we actually did say, like, but how are they going to do this now? And then actually Tyler and Aaron were going, why is everyone? And it's like, oh my God, they actually addressed it. So
I must admit, it was the Eclipse episode he returned in, wasn't it?
yes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that did
yeah,
surprise me. Because for a change, I avoided spoilers. So to see him back, I was like, what's he doing there? He's meant to be dead.
Yeah, like, hang on a minute. How is he suddenly back? What storyline are they gonna do here? Like, yeah, interesting.
I mean, that in
That-
itself was a bit of a weird storyline because isn't that when Carl lost his eyesight for a bit?
Oh, God, I forgot about that.
Yeah, Kyle lost his eyesight. Yeah, because he looked at the sun.
Don't look directly at it.
Idiot.
What does he do?
Looks at it. Idiot.
Yeah, he's not the brightest of sparks sometimes, is he?
No.
No. So like, talking of characters that before you were saying, is there anyone who left at the end of 2022 that you would have brought back for the new revival?
Yeah, I think Carl and Roxy.
Yeah.
Because where they left it hanging with her pregnancy, it would have been nice to see how they developed that.
Mhm.
It'd be nice for them to even just mention them now, because by now she's obviously had the baby and it's like what,
Yeah.
two years old or whatever. But there's no mention of them in like.
No, I think they got a mention within the first 5 episodes, and that was it.
Okay.
Mm.
Yeah. No, it's sad. It would be. Is there anybody that came back that you wished hadn't have come back?
Leo.
Apart from Leo.
No, I think that they brought back a lot of the heritage characters. They brought back some of the more popular recent additions. So no, I think they have got a good ensemble.
And what about all of the new ones that have, like, the new characters that have come in, like obviously Krista, we've spoken about or touched on. But we've got obviously now Andrew's brother coming into it. Like,
Yes, that'd be interesting.
yeah, like, how do you feel about all these new people they're bringing in? Because obviously they need it, because they can't just do the
Yeah.
same people and loop around the storylines over and over again.
I mean, was it the Wagner Murphys?
Mhm.
Varga Murphys.
That's it. Yeah, I mean, I'm terrible with names. When they first started, I was a bit unsure, but as time has gone on, I have warmed to them.
Mm. They just kind of seem to drip feed into other people's, like, storylines. Like, obviously they had that big one where it was like, is Andrew JJ's dad?
Yeah.
But then it kind of seemed to wrap up very quickly, and now they just
Yeah.
kind of be involved in everybody else's, like, storylines, and it's like, we need something that's just full on like them. Obviously, we had the anthrax scare and stuff, but
Yeah.
Yeah, but at the moment they're living through Chelsea.
yeah,
Chelsea's a drama, and it's kind of like, well, don't they have more to offer?
yeah. Like, and it full evidence of the fact that they're just drip feeders into storylines is that you and I, when we do our normal podcast and and discuss the episodes, we never actually mention them.
Mm.
Yeah,
There isn't anything for us to say about them.
yeah.
Yeah, I mean, maybe they've got a bigger plan. I would hope so. I mean, it'd be a
Yeah.
shame to keep giving them screen time if they're not doing anything.
Yeah. No, definitely. And it's because there isn't actually that many characters really on the
No, I mean, the first few weeks when Reese was in it, you see some people one day and some another day. It's only recently you see multiple characters in an episode.
Yeah.
Mm.
No,
Yeah.
definitely.
And
Yeah.
obviously there's people now having extended holidays and things.
Yeah, we said
Susan.
that. Yeah.
I mean, it might be a budgetary thing from Amazon. You just don't know.
Yeah.
But also when we said this a while ago, when obviously things got cancelled, they obviously went and then got their own plans and other jobs and stuff sorted. So yeah, they've got
I don't know though, but you know, Carl and Susan, they haven't really spent any time together. Like Carl's off, and then he comes back, and then Susan's off. Like, to be honest,
Well,
this
yeah.
could be another divorce.
Well, considering Cole doesn't go to work
What is he doing in the
and she's out
garden?
of a job, essentially. You know, I'm disappointed we've only seen the blue box once so far.
I know.
Because they're not together.
Yeah.
I don't know. Is there any questions that you've like got for us about anything you want to ask us or anything? Like anything, if you listen, I don't know. Have you
What's your take on
podcast?
Paul at the moment? Do you
Ooh,
think he can bounce back from what's happened with David?
I think he can. It's Paul. You've
yeah,
got how many lives? Like, nah, he'll be fine.
I
He'll
don't
get
think
over it.
he doesn't take too long to bounce back from much, does he? Like, you know, there was a moment where he had like no money, and then within like a couple of weeks, he seemed to have loads of money again and be living in the penthouse. And it's like, how do you land on your feet that quickly?
But
So,
I think we're going to see with him and Chelsea. I think we're going to see a bit of a similar situation with Therese's. You know, when he had the whole cancer thing. Obviously, not to
yes.
that level, but I think we're going to see him being majorly taken advantage of by Chelsea. So I think for him, it's going to get worse before it gets better. And he doesn't really
yeah,
have, apart from Chelsea, he's quite alienated, isn't he?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
you know, Leo and Aaron aren't talking to him. Therese is keeping away because of Toadie. He hasn't really got anyone but Chelsea. Krista might pop in, but if she's acting manager now,
I mean, do you
that's
think Leo
her
should
plan.
forgive him?
Yeah, because Leo's not perfect either.
no.
And it's the importance of family. So I think, yes, okay, it's fresh, fine, be in a strop, but this can't last forever.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I must admit, I mean, with everything that's going on with Mel and Therese and the little triangle thing they've got going on at the moment, I think Therese has been a bit of a hypocrite saying to Toadie, don't go to Mel when she's sneaking off to go and see Paul.
Yeah, we spoke about this in the segment before, and Tash, you know, rightly pointed out actually, what were you saying? You were saying,
Well, I
actually,
said that Therese was actually upfront with Toadie, straight up told him, but yet Toadie didn't say anything about Mel, but chatting to Mel. And I think that the feelings are deeper between Mel and Toadie than, whereas I just think that he, you know, Paul's grieving, I'm also grieving, and it's just a support system. Whereas between Mel and Toadie, there's is running deep. So I think Therese has more to worry about there than Toadie does.
I think give it a couple of weeks and it will probably fall apart.
You can already see tracks are showing. Toadie's
Can't
like
wait.
pretending that he's okay, isn't he? And he's like not at all.
She just needs to keep wearing the dress.
Yeah. I mean, my son Dylan, he refuses to watch Neighbours until Therese gets back with Paul.
Fair.
I love that.
Fair.
It's like, why do we love it? We were saying about it last week on the episode. Why do we love Toadie? Not Toadie, sorry. Why do we love Therese and Paul together so much when they are so hard at
They've
being
actually been together less
Yeah.
been apart. So why do we think that they're, you know, destined?
I think it's just the sparks they keep giving off.
It's
You
that
know,
constant.
they can't live with each other or without each other.
Yeah.
You
Yeah,
know?
that's what I was going to say. Yeah, the constant like back and forth, and even before they got together, the constant like power plays and, you know, playing off against one another and stuff. So, yeah, no, definitely.
Yeah.
So, yeah, right. Well, I think we will wrap it up there. I think that's all we're going to have time for today. Thank you so much for joining us, Steve.
It's an absolute pleasure.
Yeah, no, I was literally just going to say the same. It's been a pleasure.
Yep, thank you so much. We'll speak to you again soon.
Yes.
Right, we're going to end it here. So we will see you all again next time, everybody. We hope you've enjoyed this week's episode.
Bye.
Bye, everyone.